Hi, welcome to my channel, Bloom in Wild Places. My name is Trisha, and I'm here to talk about all things food addiction recovery, including the things that really worked, really didn't work, and the things that I'm really still struggling with. Because food addiction is a journey. Wish it was an overnight thing where we could just flip on a switch and be fixed, but it's not like that. After we tackle the food issues, then there's just underlying issues that we have to address afterwards, and it really is a lifelong journey. So with that said, if you're just starting off or if you're partway through the journey and you're just needing some encouragement, I hope you'll follow along with me, because I've really been able to find a lot of success over the last 2.5 years, including freedom from the food part of the food addiction. And so that's what I really want to talk to you guys about today, is how do you find that freedom? So previously I made a video called The 9 Tools of OA, and I encourage you to go back and check that out, because that's where you really learn how to find freedom from food addiction. But today there was one tool specifically that really needed some extra attention, and that is plan of eating. So I wanted to talk to you guys more about what a plan of eating is, how to make your own, and then give you an insight into what mine looks like. So plan of eating is something that is very different than a diet. And the reason is because of the goals. So what a diet is meant to do is to lose weight, and to lose weight rapidly, right? And sometimes we don't care how we get those results. We just want the diet results. I just get one little slip in my structured diet, and the next thing I know, I'm just back where I started, plus some. My pounds that I originally lost, they're coming back with all their extra friends, and they're hanging around. They don't want to leave anymore. And so when I started off thinking, okay, I just need to lose X amount of pounds, now I need to lose X amount of pounds plus 10, 20 pounds, right? So that's the demise of dieting. If that resonates with you, and if you're at a point where you're accepting that another diet just isn't going to solve your problems, that you've tried them all, that you've done what we call pay and ways, or you've even given people money to put you on their structured diets and to weigh you and to do support groups, and even that didn't work, then you know that you got to do something different, that those things just do not have any hope for you there. But there is hope, and so that's why I want to talk to you about plan of eating. So a plan of eating is completely different from dieting, even though there's a little bit of crossover similarities. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But a plan of eating is what protects me from compulsive overeating behavior. So if let me give you an example. I have a thing for sugary, high-fat foods. And so if I allow myself to have, like, let's just say a cookie, I can't stop at one cookie. And if I eat that one cookie, I'm obsessively thinking about a cookie the rest of the day, or when I'm going to get the next cookie. Can I get a cookie on my lunch? Can I take half a cookie on my break? Can I eat 2 cookies afterwards? When do I get the cookie dessert, right? So it becomes a crazy obsession in my life. And at some point, I can't fight that obsession. I can for a short time period, so maybe at one meal I can just eat one, but at some point I'm going to lose control, and I'm going to power down more than I want to, and I'm going to feel a lot of shame and guilt. That's what a food plan is meant to protect you from, is how do you get out of the crazy cycle of the out of control eating. It looks different than a diet, because what happens when you're doing extreme restrictions and things that help you to get rapid weight loss results is, right, they're extreme, and so then you feel deprived, and then you want to at some point make up for all the things that you deprived yourself from, right? It's like, oh, I've already broken my diet, I've eaten this, I might as well eat everything in the fridge. And you've probably experienced that. I know that I have so many times. And so a plan of eating is tailored to me specifically to stop me from getting into those cycles. So the first thing that I did was I identified my trigger foods, and I made a video about that, but I'll just give you a short recap. Trigger foods are foods that are alcoholic foods to me. They are foods I cannot eat, period. not in moderation, not a little bit. Just like an alcoholic, if they take one sip of alcohol, they're on a downward spiral, right? They don't need to drink a whole 8-ounce or 4-ounce or 2-ounce drink. It's literally one taste and they are going down the spirally descent. And that's me with certain foods. My trigger foods, for example, are sugar is one of them, refined sugar. If I have even a little bit of that, you guys, I am just, my life is a mess. I can't eat it. I can't eat it in a small amount. I can't eat it on a special occasion. I can't do it just to celebrate. I know that if I have even just a little bit of sugar, I'm going to ruin all the recovery that I've had, and then it's going to be worse than when I started. That is just the reality. I've seen it over and over in the rooms of OA, and we can fool ourselves into thinking I'm just going to do something short term, and then, I'll be able to moderate and have sugar sometimes when I want to, or when others are doing it, or that special occasion. If you're truly a food addict, and I mean truly a food addict, you can't do that. Your reality is different than what we call normies or normal eaters. We're just not. Our bodies are different. We'll explore that a little bit further in detail later in step 1, but I just want you to know that that was where I started. So then when I realized what I could and could not eat, I then needed to develop a further plan of eating to protect me from compulsive overeating or compulsive behaviors that lead me to overeating, which for me is dieting behaviors. So there are so many different types of food plans. And if you go onto oa.org, you can research a plan of eating, and it will take you to several different ideas of what might work for you. Let me just talk about a couple that I think are really common in OA and ones that I've also tried, so I can at least speak of firsthand experience. The most common, I believe, is called 301, and that's 3 meals a day, nothing in between, 1 day at a time. So a lot of us compulsive overeaters, we would describe ourselves as grazers, right? Maybe we're not used to eating 3 structured meals a day. Sometimes we're just eating 1 giant meal, or other times we're just snacking throughout the whole day, right? So it's like there's no beginning or end to a meal. It's just food is there. That's how I lived. I did a lot of little snacks, and I would tell people that I required those snacks. Like I had low blood sugar, and if I wasn't always eating like every 30 minutes, then it was like I was gonna die. And I believed it because my addiction was strong and it was telling me that. So one of the first ways I started in this program was by doing the 301. I cut out all snacks and I ate 3 meals a day, and that means 3 real meals a day. So let me give you an example of what that looks like. I don't know if you're like me, but I was the kind of person, I'd go to a restaurant with a friend, right, or a family member, etc., and I would order something and then eat like a bird. I wanted you to think like I ate so little. Like how does she survive on such small amounts of food, right? So people would be commenting, wow, you really just don't eat very much. And then I would take that entree home in my to-go box, and I wouldn't even make it home. It would be like I'd get down the road in my car, I'm tearing it open, and I am devouring that thing. And then I'd get home, and I wouldn't stop there. I'd be like, okay, this needs this dessert on top of it. I need something sweet, then I need something salty, then I need something sweet, and then I need something salty. And I'm just riding this like spiraled coaster. But so 301 meant what I put on my plate was what I was eating. So if I was eating in front of somebody else, I had to be honest and actually like, this is it. This is my meal for this time, and I don't get more. I don't get to eat in the car. And so that was really challenging for me. I was not used to being honest with other people about how I ate. So I found a lot of difficulty, but healing in just being honest in the 301. So for the time that I was doing that, it was really healing. This disease, though, it can be tricky and it can outpace us. And I think it's common, too, for people in food addiction recovery to have to tweak their food plans and tweak them kind of frequently. And so another one that I tried was by weighing and measuring everything. And we see that on the OA pamphlets. They have a couple different devised eating plans to help you. And the reason for that, which is great, is that compulsive overeaters, we typically don't know how to portion control, and we don't want to portion control, right? We want to eat everything, like until we're full, no. Let's be real. Not until we're full, until we're hurting, right? Until we're like, oh, I ate so much. That's when we want to stop. That's the feel good point for us, right? And we don't know how to get out of that cycle because we're food addicts. We don't have normal food shutoffs. In fact, some of us don't even have any full signals. Maybe you're one of those people that no matter how much you eat, there's nothing that signals you to stop until the food is gone. And so weighing and measuring is a great way to help you to be consistent with your meals and to get what you need and to know for sure that what you put on your plate is how much you're supposed to eat. So I have weighed and measured and found some really great successes with that. And I've also found some failures. So just to share with you briefly, I've done some food plans where you're measuring every single thing. And I want to say that there are people in program that absolutely works for, and that might be you. So I don't want to discourage you. If that is what works for you, please do that. I'm just sharing that for me, I struggle with perfectionism. And so if I'm not perfect, if I'm supposed to eat 3 ounces of this, 4 ounces of that, and maybe I'm served a soup, and I don't know if there's 4 ounces of vegetables or 8 ounces of vegetables in it. And so now I'm panicking. Like I might be well within my food plan, but I was spiraling because I wasn't able to be perfect. And so there was a time where I had to move away from weighing and measuring, even though it was great for a moment. So there's just different ways to explore and to do what is right for you. There's also set times that sometimes people will do. I personally don't have set times, but I have a friend who thrives and survives because she eats at the same time every day for her breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or at least as much as possible. Because if she doesn't do that, then she'll compulsively overeat. And another reason why she does it is because she had such kind of manic eating habits when she came into the program that she was never hungry at a set time or when she should be hungry. It was like she went all day without eating, couldn't eat because she wasn't hungry, and then at night just couldn't stop the binge eating, right? Because you're so deprived and you're so hungry. And so for her, she found that she had to eat at her set time even if she wasn't hungry. And over time, she trained her body to actually be hungry at those set times. And that's how she found her freedom. So there's lots of ways to do this. Now, here's the caveat. We are insane as food addicts. I know that's harsh. Like, what? I'm not insane. But we are with food. And we'll explore that some more in detail. But I think we can admit we have some habits that don't work well for us, or we think we have a knowledge, right? We can be so prideful as food addicts and be like, I know what works. I've lost weight. Trust me, I know what's best. But yet here you are saying, wait a minute, what I've been doing isn't wrong. So how does that work? How do you know everything and yet admit something's not working right? So how do we fix that? Well, 1, being in the OA program is a great starting point. 2, you will hear me say over and over, you need a sponsor. You cannot do this journey by yourself. Now, get started, go to the meetings, watch these videos, learn about recovery until you find the right sponsor. But know that you cannot succeed if you're going to try to do this completely alone. You will, guaranteed, fail, crash and burn at some point. So this program works because we work with other people. If we knew how to fix ourselves, we would already be fixed, right? We wouldn't be here saying, I need some help. I'm struggling. Something is not right. So just being open-minded to the humility of you don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. And again, that's really hard to admit, but that's where a sponsor comes in. And they are the ones that help you define your own food plan, so you don't completely make your own. If you do make your own, I 100% guarantee you're probably going to be either in the diet category side or in the compulsive eating side, where your portions are so out of control and you're eating foods that you shouldn't be eating. And when you're living that way, the steps, they don't work because you're still in the substance. This might be a hard comparison to hear, but it's a lot like being in the drugs. So people in recovery, once the substance gets out of their system, that's where they start to really take off and launch in a 12-step, right? But you don't hear about people who are free of alcohol that found success by drinking all the way through the 12 steps. So that's why we have a plan of eating. It's just what we call a step 0. It's the foundation that we have to work to be able to move forward to tackle the issues that keep us out of food. So does the food plan fix us? Is this the answer? You just eat this way the rest of your life and then you're fixed? No. No. So hear me say that. That's why we go back and we examine the 9 tools of recovery. The plan of eating is just one tool. I think it's one of the most important tools, but it cannot work by itself. You need to be using all 9 of them. And when you do, you get this amazing gift, which is called food neutrality. Food neutrality is when you can be by foods that used to trigger you. For me, that was high-fat, sugary items, especially like pastries, muffins, cakes, etc. And those things, they were obsessions for me, and I just couldn't stop thinking about them. I needed to have them. I wanted to have them. Today, I don't want them. Not only do I not want them, I'm completely free of desiring them. When I watch other people eat them around me, it doesn't even look like real food. Truly, they're not real food items to me. I don't want them. I'm happy with the way that I eat, and it tastes good to me, and I am beyond content, and I do not desire to eat those things. However, as soon as I were to pick those foods back up and eat them, the story would change. I would absolutely want to eat them. So the way that I am healed in my food addiction is by not eating them, and over time, as you don't eat them, the desire goes away. So if you're curious what my food plan looks like, I want to share it with you, because one of the things I was frustrated with, or maybe that's a strong word, but when I'd go to OA meeting, and I've had several sponsors, I never knew what other people were eating, and that drove me crazy. In fact, I didn't know what my sponsors were eating because, like I said, I came into OA and nobody was really talking about the food. And so you're just like, what do people eat? How much do they eat? What's happening? And other than a pamphlet called Dignity of Choice that is in OA, I just had no insight on what other people were doing. And I was dying of curiosity. And so I wanted to share with you guys what my food plan specifically looks like, not so you adopt it because it's not yours. It's mine. You cannot have it, but it's at least so you can see how I eat. So, for example, I am now a person who weighs and measures again, and I eat 3 meals a day, and it works really well for me. But I don't weigh and measure everything. So that might be controversial to other people. That may or may not work for you. The things I don't weigh are vegetables, non-starch vegetables. I don't weigh them. I allow myself to eat as much of a non-starch vegetable as I want. So non-starch veggies are things like broccoli, carrots, asparagus, lettuce, right? Onions. What are not counted as non-starch vegetables? So peas, even though they're green, they're not in the category of non-starch. Corn, potatoes, sweet potatoes, and squashes like butternut squashes, acorn squashes. Those are not non-starch vegetables. So those things I still eat, but I weigh and I measure them. So how much exactly do I eat? Again, for my healthy body weight and for my intake needs and my age and etc., what I eat is, so at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I eat 4 ounces of protein. And for my carbohydrate, I eat 4 ounces or 1 serving size. So if it comes in a package and it's sugar-free, because remember I don't eat sugar and I also don't eat flour, so that's another trigger food for me, then, if it says, for example, that 1 serving of a mashed potato is this many grams, I pull out the scale and I'm measuring to that many grams. If it's the side of my oatmeal package says you're getting, 40 grams or 48 grams per serving, then that's what my serving size is. It's what it says on the container. So that's how I define a carbohydrate serving, and I just get 1. So if I decide I want, for example, rice and beans, then I'm having it each one, so to make 1 whole serving. Then I measure my fat. I allow myself 1 serving of fat, which could look like 2 tablespoons of salad dressing. And yep, I absolutely weigh that, because you probably know from your experience that we can go overboard rather quickly on that. I don't really personally like to cook with oil, but if I did, then it would be 2 teaspoons would be what a fat serving is for me. And I just don't eat butter, which, I mean, unless, like I said, if it's in a pre-cooked item, but I don't buy butter. So, I just stick to the serving sizes and really limit myself on that. And I just get 1 fat item of choice at my meal time. So at 2 meals a day, I get a fruit, and it's either like 1 whole apple, 1 whole orange, or I measure and then I allow myself 4 ounces. So if I am having berries, then I measure that I have 4 ounces. And grapefruit, I allow myself 6 ounces. It's a little bit heavier with the water content of it. So anyway, again, this is just what works for me, but I stick with it, and I am silly. I am breaking out that scale when I go to other people's houses, when I'm at a restaurant, the scale comes out and I'm dissecting my entree, and I'm doing my best to measure the protein and the carb. Now, wait a minute. I thought you don't diet, Trisha. That's diet behavior. You're weighing your foods. That's extreme. That's dieting. I'm not going to do that. Let me tell you why I weigh and measure. As a compulsive overeater, and a compulsive dieter, every time I eat, and I mean every time, I am racked with guilt, no matter what I'm eating. Should I have eaten that banana? Should I have done this and done that? And then I find myself over-exercising, trying to subtract, because I feel so guilty about how I ate. So the reason why I weigh and measure is it gives me freedom from that shame. I'm no longer shackled to it. I know that I get 4 ounces of fruit, and so 4 ounces is what I ate. I get 4 ounces of protein. That's what I ate. So I'm not punishing myself anymore. I don't know if that resonates with you. If you're a punisher, over time, we think the harder we are on ourselves, that the more that's going to keep us in line and check. But you know what it does? It creates shame. And then that shame pushes us into food. And the next thing we know, we're binge eating. So I like to weigh and measure now, when again, there was a time where I didn't, because I'm free of that. There's no shame for me. I completely enjoy what I'm eating. It tastes good to me, and there's just no guilt. And I don't have to worry about being outside of a normal body weight or healthy weight range for me, because I'm eating what I should be. So going back to the restrictive side of it, weighing and measuring can go really the other end. It's got to be healthy, a healthy portion, not meant to cause you extreme restrictive or weight loss. That's not our goal. Our goal is health. Our goal is nutrition. Our goal is to take care of our bodies. So again, going back to a sponsor to help you develop what your specific food plan and portion sizes would look like for you if you're going to weigh and measure, or a nutritionist if that's a helpful tool for you. Some people in program find that they have to work with somebody who's trained and experienced in food addiction. That's an important caveat. Talk to your nutritionist about that, because many nutritionists, they don't understand it, and they will try to teach you to be an intuitive eater. If your nutritionist says intuitive eater or moderation, get out, bail. From my experience, just run, because they are not the right fit for you. They do not understand your disease, your needs, and that is just going to set you up for failure. I am here to share with you that you cannot moderate those things. Those are for normal eaters, and I'm not a normal eater, and if you're watching this, you probably aren't a normal eater either. So I hope this information is helpful. I do plan on making some more videos to just show you what I eat per meal and kind of give you some insight. But again, it's not the diet that's the solution. The diet helps me to be free, or the plan of eating keeps me out of dieting, helps me to have sanity, and helps me to stay on track to be able to utilize the other tools of recovery, including meetings. So, if you're just starting off and you're feeling overwhelmed by the information you've just received, I want to tell you, start with an OA meeting. Go on to OA.org, find a next available meeting. They're almost 24 hours a day. Go and just hop on one. You don't have to speak. You don't have to turn your video on. Just listen to what is working and not working for other people. And then go back, watch my earlier videos, and just go on this journey with me. And I promise you, it takes time, but you will get there if you just go one baby step at a time. And maybe your baby step today is watching this video and promising yourself you're going to hop on a meeting this week. And that's a great victory. That's not small. It's those little steps that got me to where I am today. I didn't start off doing all of the things and doing them right. I just took one small step and then added another one, and then another and another. And before I knew it, I had lost so much weight. I had found freedom. I was free of shame from the food addiction. I had food neutrality, and I just had a brand new outlook on life. And I could go on and on and on about the benefits of it, which I will at another time, but I feel like I've gone on really long on this video. So I'm going to end it here. But I always want to pray with you. So, Lord God, Heavenly Father, I thank you for this person that is with me today. I thank you that you know their shame, their guilt, and the fear that they have of food, that food has overran their life. It has held them hostage. And I pray, Lord, that you help them to receive a message of hope, that they absolutely can find freedom from food addiction. And I pray that they would just know that I am here to walk alongside of them. It is not an easy journey, but it is absolutely doable. And their success is going to happen as long as they keep coming and keep coming back. Lord, just hold their hand, give them strength and courage to just watch one more video, to hop on that meeting, and to just do what they need to do, because they are worth it. They are lovely, they are worthy, and they are loved and seen by you. And it's in the precious name of Jesus Christ I pray these things. Hey, thanks so much for joining me today. I'm excited for our next video in the series, which will be on sponsorship. Join me for that, and I can't wait to hear about how you're doing. Leave me a comment so I just hear about what stood out to you today, what you're trying to work on, and if you have any other tidbits from your own plan of eating know-how, just share it with the rest of us, because we're all trying to learn from each other. So you take care. Love you. Bye.